Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Player's Take, episode 100. I'm your host, Justin D. Simone, joined by my co-host, a professional Zach Simp, Montrell. How are you doing, man?
All right, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, man. I can't help but call you out. It's like literally any opportunity you get to talk about Zach, you take it. Doesn't matter what the context is, what game you're talking about. If you can mention Zach, you will. He's
Yeah,
your
I
favorite
will.
character, like, period. That's what I feel, at least.
He's my favorite Final Fantasy character. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. He's shoved into a side game on PSP. It's
Yeah, a lot
sounds
of
about
people
right.
say that, but hey, man, that game was really fucking. That was actually my first introduction to Final Fantasy, so maybe that's why I stand Zack so hard compared to
Hey,
other people who played
that's
Cloud
true.
first.
That's fair.
So
Hey, don't worry. We'll talk about Zach a little bit more later. We've got, it's a little bit of a teaser for you guys, so we'll get into that. But Montreal, how are you doing? How's your life? Is there anything you want to talk to me about here today, or should we just get straight into the nitty gritty?
I mean, I'm just going through some stuff, but I'm pulling through. It's
Okay,
all good.
fair enough, man. You got to
Yeah,
apex
nothing.
harder.
Yeah, did Deleon get back on?
He did. He's got an Xbox Series X. He paid an exorbitant sum for it. Not super crazy, actually.
Yeah, he played like 625 for it, right?
No, he said 660. I think he said total was the
Okay,
was
that's
the
not
full
bad.
total. So that's really actually not that bad from a scalper. But he must have found somebody local that was just looking to offload it. But so yeah, he was on. He was playing with controller, and we spent like 2 hours trying to troubleshoot audio issues for him. It was super fun, dude. But you know, he's playing with controller,
Well,
so we have to carry him anyways. So
okay.
yeah.
Well, yeah, I like his little bots that he has set up in the Discord. Like that
Mhm.
shit is really fucking cool.
I didn't see it. I haven't. He just set those up today.
Yeah, he set a lot of them up today. So, if you are looking for an Xbox Series X or anything like that, or S, or if you're looking for any graphics cards, like the bot will
Yeah.
tell you the moment it comes up in
Mhm.
stock. And
Nice.
if we're not scalpers, we're gonna buy them like for ourselves or whatever. But I saw like a 380 in there for like maybe $700 or $800, and I'm thinking I might buy it.
Nice. Well, yeah, I'm not in the market for one anymore. Nvidia lost me, with the launch, so I didn't feel like spending months like scouring the internet for one of those. But you know, we did get our PlayStations, so that's all that
Yeah,
matters, I guess.
yeah. I just haven't touched my PlayStation in weeks. It's pretty weird.
Really? Man, I'm
Yeah,
playing
man.
mine daily, so I'm pretty in on it, dude. But I don't know. I'm pretty like I said, I'm pretty much a PlayStation gamer at this point, so I play most of my games there, so not a surprise. Plus, I'm a Genshin Impact simp, so I'm playing that game every day, pretty much still. So of course, I'm turning my system on pretty much daily. So, but yeah, it is funny though playing it for what is now 2 months, basically. How like desensitized I am to the thing now already. It's like I'm already used to the frame rates being amazing and the game's loading super fast. I don't even think about it anymore.
Yeah.
And it's funny though because it's like I'm sure if I go back to my PS4, I would literally want to throw myself out a window, with the like 5 minute load times or whatever the fuck for certain games. So, I still appreciate you PS5. I'm not talking shit. I'm just it happens. You get used to the things you have. So, okay, well, let's just get right into it, Montreal. We got a lot of games to talk about this week. So, for those of you who haven't listened before, this is our weekly show where we talk about video games, video game news, and other topics pertaining to video games. We post at 6 a.m. Central Time on Fridays on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and your favorite podcast app of choice. Let us start, like we always do, with what we've been playing. And I'm gonna go first this week and just kind of blast through what I've been playing. Like I said, I've been playing Genshin Impact. Not much to say there. There is a new character that came out today, and it is the first waifu added to the game. So the Reddit simps are they're all aflutter right now. So yeah, that's going on in that game. Persona 5 Royal I have played a little bit more. I got to the second palace finally. I'll be honest with you, man. That feeling I had at the last week about how the game doesn't let you play it, um, is kind of continuing here, where like you don't have a lot of free time in the early part of this game, because you finish the first palace and the second palace pops up literally 2 in-game weeks later,
Yeah.
and the game kind of punishes you for not immediately doing the palace, because a lot of uh like the confidant ranks are gated behind doing the palace. So like you kind of feel like you have to do that immediately, and it kind of sucks because I don't really want to right now, but I was already trying to tackle
Uh,
it. So
which okay, so because I'm kind of in the middle of the game, I haven't touched it since 2 weeks, to be
hmm
honest with you.
yeah,
But I'm still in the middle of the game. What palace are you on right now? Are you on the Painter's Palace or
yes,
the?
yep,
Okay,
the museum,
after you get done with that, that's when the game truly opens up.
yeah,
The next
okay,
palace you have, you're gonna have at least 10 days to raid and do everything you need to do. You can go to mementos. They're gonna open up. They're actually gonna open up all of everything to you to where you can start taking people on dates to different
yeah,
parts
okay.
of the of Tokyo and everything of that nature. So yeah, after that one, it does open up, and that's actually where I got overwhelmed and I kind of put the controller down because it does
Well,
open
do
up a
you
lot.
know how many palaces are in the game? Because it sounds like there's a fucking lot, dude. Like,
I know the Royal Edition has two extra characters,
yeah,
or one or two extra characters.
yeah,
So that's at least one or two extra palaces that you have
okay,
to do.
yeah,
But I'm
yeah.
not
Is it
too
like
sure to
one
be
per
honest with you.
month, basically?
I think so, but I think it's only I think because you're like halfway in the year right now. I think
Yeah,
so. When you go to the third palace, you're halfway in the year. So I think you maybe have like 4 or 5 more palaces to go. But I know usually they give you all your characters. I'm assuming they give you all your characters, and then you tackle the mementos and the palace the way you want to do them in
okay,
any way. Because I haven't even explored the mementos, and the mementos is really deep. Like it's super
yeah.
deep.
I've gone about 2 areas deep so far, but I'm assuming it goes very, very far down.
Yeah,
So, but yeah, the yeah, because I mean, I don't know what the game's like calendar is, so I don't know how far into the calendar it goes. Like, is it a full calendar year, or is it like 9 months, 10 months? I don't
that I'm not
actually
sure
know.
of. So
Yeah,
we
I don't
both got
actually
to figure that
know.
out.
Yeah, and I know the Royal version added more stuff like post whatever the end of the game was before. So yeah, it's I don't know. The game feels packed already, and to hear that it gets even more packed is almost intimidating. But I'm still having
Yeah,
a lot of fun. I'm not gonna lie. It's just like I do feel like Persona 4 was a lot more relaxed than this game, like from what I remember, there were a long stretches of time where you could kind of do what you wanted to do,
yeah,
like
and you
almost the
will
whole
feel
time.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you will feel that within the next palace. You get literally 2 weeks to do what you want to do. Um,
Yeah.
I don't know about the old personas, but this persona, for me, it doesn't have a clear representation of like how much knowledge you're gaining or anything like that. It just shows you a graph, but the graph kind of never moves. It just kind of, you know, like
Yeah.
pulses, like it's going up. Like I
Yeah.
was trying to get my knowledge up, and I did like 2 or 3 days worth of knowledge stuff, and I
Yeah.
was drinking stuff and eating stuff that gives you knowledge, and it didn't move, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, what do I got to do to get it to move? So
It
I don't
takes
know if that's like
forever,
a
man.
persona.
It's a
Okay,
it's
so is
a
that
lot. Yeah, no,
it's a
no, it takes
persona thing?
forever, dude. Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
it takes those the core social stats, knowledge, guts, proficiency, charm, and I forget the last one. Knowledge. Yeah. They take forever to level up once you get into the middle section. Like the first level doesn't take very long. I'm pretty much level 2 in all of them almost.
yeah,
But I think 2 to 3, 3 to 4, and 4 to 5 take fucking forever. And that is not abnormal. I mean, think about it, right? Like how long the game is. Like they shouldn't be fast to level up because, I mean, like you have such a long period of time. It'd be a little crazy for it to take like a month, to do all 5 of them maxed out. It wouldn't really make much sense if that was the case. But it is a really long period. Now, I will say you can go into the bathroom in the bar, and it will give you a vague hint of how close you are to the next level.
Okay.
If you just go in there and like sit in there, it's like one of the options you can pick. It will tell you. So far, all I've seen is you're nowhere near close to the next level, or you're very close to the next level. I don't know if there's anything in between that. I assume there is, but so you can check that, and that's like a free activity. It doesn't cost you any time, so you can do that whenever you
Okay.
want. But yeah, I mean, I'm having a lot of fun with the game. The story is like ramping up too. It's like it is that Persona. It's a very very involved storyline. The narrative in these games is extremely impressive. Like this is like it's kind of hard to explain. Like
I wish they would just make an anime, like the studio, whoever
yeah,
writes it or whatever. I
yeah,
wish they just do a full fledged anime. I know they did, but it
yeah.
was like a tie in to the game, but like
Hmm.
their own Persona separate anime type deal. I know they did Danganronpa, and I
Yeah.
like that a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this
Uh,
is like peak video game writing to me. It is like it's just how detailed it is and deep it is.
yeah,
There's really no stone left unturned with the story in these games. So it's very impressive work. If you enjoy video game stories, Persona is very much worth like investing your time in.
yeah,
Um,
I know. Yeah, we know it's anime, but uh, they do it. I don't know how to explain it. They do it differently than like your. I know a lot of people when they think anime, they think like the typical shonen animes, and this is more so like it is a shonen anime, but it's a slice of life anime, and
slice of
I
life
actually,
anime. Yeah, right.
yeah, and I actually like those type of animes as well.
Yeah,
And this does a really good job at telling a story.
right. Yeah, and I will say I didn't like Ryuji last week, and I'll be honest, I still don't like him very much. The way you approach the second person, that you're targeting, to get to their palace or whatever, I kind of hated the way the party approached this situation because they find like this is mild spoilers for the game, but they like run into a pupil for this guy and they want to try to get the information out of him, to prove that the guy's a piece of shit and he's worth like, stealing his heart or whatever. And like the first time you meet the guy, like you get invited to his house and they like immediately just like they don't even walk into the house yet. Ryuji just comes out and is like, "Hey, is your sensei being a piece of shit to you? Like, oh, we heard all these things. Like, is he a fucking asshole? Like, just come on, just tell us, dude." And it's like, bro, like what? Like what? Like, shut the fuck up, dude. And the guy like he almost like called the cops on us because Ryuji was so like forward, with the way he was approaching the situation. It's just like, dude, like, shut the fuck up, bro. Like, you're completely like, there's no subtlety here at all. Like, you're just like giving away who we are, too. It's like, I don't know. So the character's a little much for me at the moment. I'm hoping he grows over the course of the game because right now he's kind of annoying with how much time you have to spend with him. Like, and the way he approaches every situation is literally to just kick the fucking door down. Like, that's his approach to everything. So yeah, he's definitely gets a little more on my nerves, and no one calls him out for this. By the way, that's what's really annoying about it. It's like no one's like, "Hey, dude, like maybe that wasn't the best way to approach the situation, Ryuji. Like, chill out, bro."
Well,
And no
that
one
was
says that. So
what's funny is the guy that you actually recruit, he actually is like the calm one. He's like the counter to
mhm,
Ryuji.
mhm.
So in the text message strings, they actually do. In the second person you get as well, they also kind of counter him as well because they're more very organized person. Um, and I think they bounce off of him as far as like they kind of him and Morgana kind of bounce off each other as well,
Of course,
especially
yeah,
in the text message. You said what?
yeah, of course.
Yeah,
Morgana, yeah,
yeah, and especially in the text messages, I think it comes out better in the text messages when you're group texting everybody. You kind of tell them to shut the fuck up a lot of times, like, yo, shut up. Like, we know what we're doing.
yeah,
And you have the option sometimes to actually tell them, like, no, we're not going to do this, or yes, we can do this, and all the stuff like that. So I think in the text messages, they kind of calm him down, and throughout some of the gameplay, and everything of that nature, he gets kind of, I don't want to say put in his place, but yeah, in a sense, he gets put in his place by the team. Like, we
yeah.
can't just run in guns blazing all the time, bro. You got to chill the fuck out.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to having the full party or more of the party soon. And then like this happens with every JRPG where the party gets larger and certain characters kind of take a back seat as the game goes on. And I'm kind of hoping that happens to Ryuji a little bit. So
Yeah,
we'll
they
see.
do try to push him as your best friend though. So
Yeah,
he
yeah,
may not. You can take the choice, but the game definitely wants you to be like, "Hey, this is your best friend. Let's hang out with them." Like he always constantly asks you to hang out with them.
yeah.
So
Yeah, I'm already like confidant rank 6 with him. I think it's like, dude, you have so many opportunities to hang out with him in the early game because he's like literally the only party member you can hang out with. So
I
I
mean,
just
it helps out in battles later on,
yeah,
but I think in the actually in the mission after him, I didn't even take him because I actually found a really strong electric persona that I use, and I'm like, I don't really need you because I have electric persona now. So
right.
um, I think I got really confident with Morgana and another person on my team, and
Mhm,
I like it because when you do that, you can do follow up attacks with
mhm.
that stuff. So
Yeah,
I
yeah.
thought that was like it is worth it when you get follow up attacks because sometimes that shit really helps you out in the late game or mid to late game when
Mhm.
monsters start getting really fucking crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm really enjoying the persona fusing aspect of it. Actually, it's insane how many personas there are. The
It's a
list is
Pokemon game, bro. It's
dude, it's
literally a
literally a
Pokemon game.
Pokemon game. It's fucking bonkers, man. And I've already made some pretty cool personas, but I'm really looking forward to like getting deep in this game, like high level, and really
Yeah.
seeing what the later game is like. Because I didn't get that far in Persona 4. I didn't all the way beat that game, so I'm looking forward to doing that here. So I'll have more thoughts as I play some more. Also been playing Grim Dawn. Not much more, but a little bit more. Still enjoying that. And then Apex. We played
Okay.
quite a bit of Apex in the last week. I am
Yes, we have.
grinding. I am grinding my battle pass, bro. I'm trying to get to 100 to get all the Apex coins that you get for the
Yeah.
season. And I have 3 weeks to do it. I'm not too concerned right now, but I think I grinded out about 40 levels in the past week with all the challenges that I had built up over the course of the season. And I've been having a lot of fun with Apex, not going to lie. That game we had Saturday where I was like alone and ended up winning the game,
Man,
when you
you
guys
did
were.
that twice, actually. I think you did
Yeah,
that twice.
dude, that was some of the most fun shit, that I love situations like that in BR, and you actually pull it off, it was fucking nuts. I was like in a zone, man. It was crazy. So, that shit is super fun, man. I'm fucking really enjoying Apex. I kind of want to play it tonight. So we'll see
Yeah,
if
I
we
might
do.
play it tonight too.
Um
I'll see how I feel.
yeah. So yeah, the last game I have we're both going to talk about. So, you can go ahead, Montrell. What have you been playing, sir?
I've been playing Apex Legends with you guys. I think I'm getting a little bit better. I've also been playing with
Mhm.
another group of people who are like kind of
Yeah,
at the same level as me.
gotcha.
But when I play with them, I'm a little bit better than them
Yeah.
because I'm used to the people we play with. When we go against people, they're supposed to be at my level, but I'm so used to playing high level people that the shit that I do is
Yeah.
like they're like, "What the fuck?" And I'm
You're like
like,
dominating. You're like dominating
yeah,
people. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
It's so funny how
exactly.
matchmaking works out in these games because that does happen, dude. That shows that it works, though.
Yeah.
You're getting put through. You with us are getting put through like the hardcore boot camp of skill. Because yeah, we're playing against pretty high level players. We get put up against predators like fairly often.
Okay.
And I feel like there's at least one team in every game we play that's like pred level basically. And yeah, whereas like you with your friends, you're probably not playing anybody like that, so it's like you're kind of more able to dominate. So, and I will say you are absolutely getting better.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, so just keep playing, man. Just keep playing. Keep those skills up. Keep those skills up.
And I am playing League of Legends, so if you haven't been following me on Twitter lately, I've literally wanted to write a letter to Riot to eliminate the ADC role because I think people who play the ADC role are I don't even know how to put this. I
This
think
emotional roller coaster this game puts you through is wild.
oh my god. I think people who play the bot lane role, not the supports, sometimes the supports, but mainly the ADCs, I think they need to be checked into like a mental hospital because they don't understand how to play this game at all. Like,
Mhm.
don't even rank up. Don't queue
Yeah.
up. This is a message to all ADCs, and I will definitely tag all the ADCs. Hashtag, League of Legends ADCs, whatever. You're trash, and you. It needs to be 4v4 now. Like, we should just have the top lane, the jungler, the mid laner, and then the support. That's what we should have because you don't matter.
Mhm.
I switched positions this season. First off, I do want to give props to right about improving the season. So what usually happens is you have divisions, which is gold, iron, gold, or iron, bronze, silver, gold, platinum, diamond, so forth and so on. And in between those, you have different tiers. So you have, bronze one, bronze two, or you go from bronze four to bronze one, then from silver four to silver one, and all this stuff like that. And in between each of those, you had to do a promotional game. So say you get enough LP, you need 100 LP per level or per tier to go up to the next tier. Um, until you get to like diamond, then it's a different requirement. So anyway, you get to say that you're going from bronze 4 to bronze 3. You have to have a promotional game. You have to play your promotional games, which means you have to win 2 out of 3 of your games. And
Mhm.
if you lose that, you stay in bronze
Oof.
4. That's how it used to be. And then if you
Oof.
wanted to go, say if you're going from bronze to silver, like you're
Yeah.
going from bronze 1 to silver 4, you had to win 3 out of 5 games. And if you
Oof.
lost, yeah, you stayed in that tier. You had to do it all over again.
Oh,
Well,
that's
not
rough.
all over again. You had to win like 2 more games, and then you go into your promos, and then you had to win an additional 3 games out of
That's
those
kind of
5
a cool
games.
system, though. It's almost like your own like playoff series, in sports.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's kind of
Um,
cool.
the thing is, a lot of people were getting upset about the promotional tier, about the tiers, so they got rid of those. So you can go from 4 to 1 just by playing games and winning. You don't have to do any promotional games. The only time you have to do, which I agree with, only time you got to do is the promotional games is when you're going from an actual division to another division, and I think that
Okay,
makes sense,
that
more
does make
sense
sense.
than doing it each time you go a tier. That really was crazy to me. So I do appreciate that, even though everything's more volatile now. Um, so you do get a lot of mixing stuff. So this season, I'm on a dummy account playing mid lane, and I've consistently gotten like I've been the literal MVP. Like the game will call me the MVP of my team, and I lose because for whatever reason, I think it's been like this for the last 2 seasons. Uh, Bot lane, I don't know. You have to cater to them because if you don't, they lose the entire game, and it's wild to me
Mm,
for you. So
yeah.
I've been doing that, and then on my other account, I actually been climbing on that account with my friends because they're like, as far as mid lane skill, I'm like a silver, bronze, silver type person. As far as jungle, I think I'm gold to platinum. So on my other account, I haven't been jungling, and I haven't done my all my promotional or haven't done all my ranked games yet to determine which uh, tier I'm going to be in or division I'm going to be in. But I've been winning all my jungle games, so
Mhm.
jungling is not hard for me. The only issue I have is mid lane. I like being a laner now, and I don't want to spend too much time on this, but being a laner now, I I still don't get it because
Yeah.
I'm also a jungler as well, so I still don't get it to where I'm like, how are you guys just as bad? Like even if I'm having a bad laning phase, I know to just sit under tower and I can determine throughout the first 5 minutes of the game that okay, I have a bad jungler or okay, I have a good
Mhm.
jungler and I can't depend on them.
Yeah.
It seems like laners don't do that. They just
Yeah.
have no map awareness. And as a laner, I understand how you can't get tunnel vision now, but
Mhm.
I'm still constantly looking at my mini map,
Yeah.
trying to, find out where the jungler is, if I push past river, blah, 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 all that
Mhm.
stuff. Um, it's just really hard to control the flow of the game. I see why the jungler is the most powerful role, and Bright tried to decrease that, but it's
Yeah.
still the same. Like I think jungling is the most powerful role because you control the flow of the game. I can go 1-10-1 in mid lane, absolutely destroy my mid laner. I'm roaming with my jungler and everything. But if he's not making or he or she's not making the right plays, then we still lose the game. It's
Yeah.
it's insane how important that role is. And
Yeah.
I see what you mean now, where you're like, that shouldn't be the way the game is set up. And I kind of agree. Now that I'm not jungling anymore, like I agree that it is a lot of pressure on the jungler to do to make or break a game.
Mhm.
And even then, like I don't know, it just seems like even if like say the enemy bot lane gets fed, you got like a 10-1 fucking Ash on bot lane or
Mhm.
whatever. She's
Cool.
just ripping everyone
Oh
apart.
my
Like
god.
if you have a
Nightmare fuel.
like if you have a really good jungler,
Yeah.
that doesn't matter. Like they can still make moves to where even if your team's like 5-5, everyone's 5-5, and the jungler is maybe like 7-5, if they get all the objectives and stuff like that, that 10-1 Ash makes no difference. She can't carry the game at all.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, that's a weird meta, dude.
yeah,
Because to me, it shouldn't. I mean, I'm not saying that Ash. I'm not gonna say that Ash, like in that situation, should carry the game automatically. You should be able to overcome that, but it
yeah,
shouldn't just be a thing that they're hard countered by a good jungler. You know, like I don't know. It seems kind of weird to me because yeah, like I mean, there's a so MOBAs are complicated games, right? And I
yeah,
think this is the problem with them is that I think most people, I'd say 90% of people who play MOBAs just don't understand them at a base level. Like they know how to click, you know, they know how to use their abilities, they know how to
yeah,
farm for items, but they don't actually understand the flow of the fucking game, right?
exactly.
Because for me in Dota, right? Like, say you were talking about your mid laner, right? Say in Dota, the mid laner fucking dominates, just absolutely dominates. They're like 12-0. Our fucking mid laner is like 0-8, getting destroyed. Their mid laner's ganking people and shit all over the map. And like the thing about that is like there's an ebb and flow to it though. There's getting kills individually, and then there's actually objectives, you know.
Yeah,
And getting kills individually carries you up to a certain point in the game, right? When you're level like mid game, you're level 12, 13, 14, you know, you're kind of gaining a certain amount of power. Having the lead at that point in the game, like being level 14 when everyone else in the game is level 9, that is a massive advantage. Like you can literally 1v5 if you're strong enough, you know, and you
exactly. Yep.
play well enough. But the longer the game goes, that advantage gets mitigated because everyone else is catching up and there's diminishing returns to your leveling because the leveling is pretty fairly linear in these games.
Yeah,
So that gets diminished where I think that's where a lot of players get lost is that they think individually winning their lane or individually dominating is going to carry the game, and it can, but you have to transition that into objectives. You know, if you never
yes,
take a
exactly.
tower and you're 12-0, you've played the game poorly. You know, because like the point of the game is to destroy the enemy's nexus in League, and then in Dota, I don't forget what it's called, the Ancient or whatever. Yeah, in Dota, that's the objective of the game. The objective of the game is not to go 15-0. Like that's not the purpose of the game. That's not what you're trying to do. Yeah, it makes you look good. You look cool. Oh yeah, you fucking dominated. But guess what looks really stupid? When you're 15-0 and you lose, you know,
And
because
I
you didn't transition it. And that's the other problem. When everything goes to one player, the other four players on the team suffer generally.
yeah,
And like all that gold getting funneled into one person, dude, if that person gets shut down in a team fight, like say they play poorly or misuse their abilities, or the other team plays really well and CCs them hard enough and makes it so they can't do anything and kills them, bursts them down fast enough, the fight's over. The other four teammates can't do shit because they don't have any items, you know? Like because they
yeah,
made no gold. So the game is extremely complicated in that way. Like it's not as simple as you can't this is the problem with it is you have to multitask and people are very bad at that, you know? Like you have to pay attention to the map. You have to know what your teammates are doing. You have to know matchups. You have to know what objectives you should be doing at this point in the game at certain timings, where you should be ganking, who you should be ganking, when you should be ganking them. Like you have to keep all these things in mind. You can't just sit in your lane and farm for 35 minutes. Like you can't play the game that way,
and
you know?
that's the big thing. I think especially now that I'm back in low elo, I'm watching videos and stuff like that. I watch a lot of videos in the past. I haven't been watching any lately because I kind
Mhm.
of retained all that knowledge. But I actually see what people are talking about when they talk about, ARAM, all random, all mid.
Yeah.
So a lot of people in low elo, they just randomly team fight. I feel like the only time, and a lot of high elo people say this as well. Only time you should team fight is when objectives are on the map or you're fighting
Yeah.
for an objective.
Yeah.
Sometime I will already take the dragon, or the jungler rather. He will already take the dragon, and I don't know. Somebody gets caught out in the river. They're farming like a scuttle crab in the river, and they get caught out.
Yeah.
Everyone would converge to try to make up the mistake for that, and it's like, no, just unfortunately he got caught out. Oh well, we got to keep farming. Now we have. This is the
Play.
time for
Yeah.
you to just play
Right.
defensively and farm until that person comes back up. The problem is in low elo games, a lot of people just tend to do random jungle fights or random fights anywhere, just random 5v5s. And sometimes your team is not equipped for that. Sometimes your team is a team where you have to catch people out, and that's
Yeah.
all. We may have a burst squishy squad. So the only way we can do something is by catching players out and pushing lanes. That's the only thing we can do. We can't do a team fight, because if we do, they have like 2 tanks on their team and they're going to fucking destroy us, because ADC can just sit behind the tank, assassin come from behind us and kill us.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you can't do anything.
Yeah.
The hardest issue is for me, since I am on a Smurf account, everyone, you are low elo too, so they're not going to listen to you. So we're trying to tell people like, hey, don't do that. You try to say in the good way, like, hey, like we should just farm for a minute. We have a Vayne who's 0-5, but she can come back if she get her items. Let's just farm and like stay next to the Vayne while she farms. That's all we got to do.
Yep.
No, we don't want to do that. I'm gonna push lanes. They don't know how to freeze. They don't know the concept of freezing lanes and everything of that nature. And now that I'm in mid lane, I understood the concept in jungling, but now that I'm in mid lane, I understand how important it is to freeze lanes mid game, because the laning phase, I think everyone in low elo understands the laning phase. It's once the laning phase ends, people do not know how to control their lanes
Mm-hmm.
and everything of that nature. So I mean, I learned that, and it's been a very very challenging learning experience for me, honestly.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, yeah, because dude, that's true in Dota too. I don't want to stay on this too much longer, but one last point, I guess. In Dota, like those same concepts exist. Where in Dota, like if you push, let's say you push a lane like down to the tier 2 tower, and you knock down the tier 2 tower in that lane. If you do that within 8 minutes of the game starting, right? That sounds really good on paper, but in reality, that's actually awful. Because like generally what happens is you're not going to have enough power early game to push the tier 3 tower. Now if you did, that would be advantageous if you could
Mm-hmm.
manage that, but that is extremely difficult early in the game. Like within the first 15 minutes, you're just not going to do it. It's so hard pushing high ground and like not having vision and all that. And just the ability to defend a base is very high in these games, and this is true in League as well. And when you push objectives that quickly, this is the part about the subtleties of the game that people don't understand, is that when you push a lane that hard, and this is true in League 2, I'm sure, is that you've made it so that lane is unfarmable for your team, basically. Because
Exactly.
you're so
Exactly.
fucking far away from your base, and there's so much space between where you're fighting the lane and where your closest tower is. It's so easy to get ganked. So easy to get ganked. Like, and it turns into a situation where like you just can't go to that lane anymore. So you have 5 people that have 2 lanes and a jungle they're trying to farm. And yes, you can take the enemy jungle at that point, and that is a good tactic to do, where you can catch them out. But that's the thing, you need to have good team coordination to pull that off. If you don't, and you're alone in that situation down there, you're gonna get ganked. Like, it's a guaranteed fucking T. Get the fuck out. Like, don't go there. You're gonna get ganked if you're
Exactly.
by
Yeah.
yourself. And even if it's 2 people, you're still gonna get ganked. You need at least 3 to keep the lane, and at that point, you're putting too many people in one lane trying to maintain some advantage you think you've gotten. It's like, because then you're creating an imbalance where they can push your other lanes, and then they're like just flipping the map. So it's like you have to be smart about the way you push. Pushing the tier 1 tower down too fast is actually not good. Like you don't want to do it, because especially in your farmer's lane, like the ADC, I'm assuming, and in Dota it's your carry or whatever, like they need to be able to farm for a good amount of time. And to do that, you don't want to push the lane too hard, because they need the equilibrium to be around the tier 1 tower so they can actually protect themselves assuming they're alone or enemies are really keyed on them for some reason. They need to be able to get around the tower quickly, so it's like
Exactly. Yep.
there's all these strategies that go into the game, and it's like it is honestly a seesaw the way the game is. That's why these games are so good and so fun to watch and so fun to play, is that they're designed in a way where, like, if one team gets an advantage, the game's not over. Like, the other team can easily come back if they play correctly. It's really not that difficult to do, and that's why it frustrated me. This is why I stopped playing Dota, is that people would give up so fucking fast in games within 8 minutes of the game. Like, somebody, like, we're 0-5 and we've lost the tower, and like everyone just wants to quit. It's like, what the fuck, you guys? What are you talking about? Like, okay, we win a couple team fights and bang, we're right back in the game. It's like, or even just one team fight, frankly. Like, it doesn't even matter that much. So I don't know. I,
Yeah.
I, I feel you, man. Like, those low level players in these games, I think this is where I think people are delusional. And we do this with Apex too, is like, we think we're way better at these games than we actually are, in reality,
Yeah.
generally. And this is true of everyone. I'm including us in this too.
Yep.
But
I
it's
agree.
like I would consider both of us above average players in most of the games we play. That includes Apex and League. But I'm not going to sit here and say like I'm a predator level player in Apex. I don't think that. I think there are players that are better than me, and that's the
Oh
same in
yeah.
Dota as
100%.
well. But it's just frustrating when you're playing with people who are not that good at the game, and they refuse to listen to anything. Like, they
Yeah.
think they know everything, and they think they're better than everyone in the fucking game, even though they're not. It's like so irritating. And unfortunately, MOBAs are just littered with people like that. And in a game where communication is so important, it's hard to deal with sometimes. So
Yeah, it
I
is.
feel your frustrations, man.
But yeah, that's pretty much all I've been playing as far as like separate playlists. But we can talk about the one game we both have been playing.
Yeah, so
Uh,
I didn't play it too much,
y-
but the
y-
Monster Hunter Rise demo came out last week on Switch,
I didn't
and
either, so that's why I thought you were gonna upset me. I didn't play it too much either, and the
okay,
reason why I didn't play it too much is because I was afraid that I would like this game so much that I would run through the limited amount of time you get to play a fucking demo, which has never
mhm,
happened in Monster Hunter, and
yep.
I didn't want to touch it.
Okay. Well, so what Montrell's referencing is there's a limit to the number of times you can hunt in the demo, and it's 30. You have 30. You can hunt 30 times. Now, Montrell, you were very upset about this last week, but I'm going to be honest. I don't really think this is that big of a deal.
Okay.
Because first of all, I don't. What's stopping you from re-downloading the demo and just resetting the counter? First of all, second of all,
Does
they
that
give you
work?
literally. I don't know if it works, but if it does, then it doesn't really matter. I don't even know why there's a counter in that case. But if it doesn't work, even if it doesn't work, dude, there's 2 hunts. Okay, you can only do 2 hunts, and it's like they're not like, how many times are you really gonna do them? Even if you use every weapon twice on the Mizutsune hunt, that's still 28, and you've still got 2 left to do whatever you want with. So
Yeah, I
I
guess.
mean,
I just
I
didn't
don't
want to
know.
get
Just
addicted. Like I don't
yeah.
know. I know I can get addicted to Monster Hunter, and I did with the last demo. They did on the 3DS. I got addicted to it, and I
Mhm.
was literally playing that. Like maybe I'll come in and do like 1 or 2 hunts, and then
Yeah.
I'll just play something else a day until the actual game came out. So I
Yeah, I
know I
mean,
was
I
gonna
I
do that.
dipped in I dipped in too. I don't wanna get like, why am I gonna get addicted to a demo where I can't carry my progress over? There's no point in
Exactly.
that. I just wanted to see what the changes were and how the game feels and looks and everything like that. So,
I
so
will
what did you
say
think?
though, I think the wire bug is a really great addition. I hope they bring it
Yes.
to whatever next iteration of Monster Hunter on the consoles.
Mm, mhm,
They do. Whether they do like a wire bug or they do some kind of thing with the grapple hook or whatever. Um,
mhm.
it really increases your mobility.
Yeah.
It makes weapons like the great sword very viable and flashy and fast because of the shit that you can do with it. And um, I didn't use the monster like wrangling thing where you can like wrangle the monsters, but I
Oh,
think
you
that's
didn't?
really I didn't do that yet.
Okay.
But I
So
think
that's
that's
our
really
that's our
fucking cool.
clutch claw replacement, basically. Is you so there's a new mechanic in the game. You hit the monster with these wire bug moves, and it
Mhm.
will it will eventually, when you do enough damage with these moves, the monster will get wrapped up in like a web, basically. and you'll be able to mount the monster. And so there seems to be, this is kind of the big mechanic for this game, I think, and this is how monster fights are going to be. You're going to be able to control the monster and actually fight with the monster yourself, which is cool. It sounds pretty cool. And the problem is the controls are like really not good. Like it feels awful. Like the monsters are completely unresponsive. They don't do what you want them to do. They're just awkward. They move weirdly. So to me, like I think this mechanic ultimately for people who are really good at this game, like this is going to be a novelty for a little while. And then I think what people are going to use it for basically is what the clutch claw was used for, is to run monsters into walls and knock them over.
Okay.
That's
So
kind of
can
what
you
I
do
think it's
that?
going to turn into. Yeah. That's
Okay.
what you can do. You can ride the monster and then you can shoot it into a wall and it will get knocked down the way you did with the clutch claw. It's just
Gotcha.
not nearly as dangerous as the clutch claw was, because the monster doesn't attack you while you're mounted to it.
Okay.
You're in complete control pretty much. Like it's trying to buck you off, but it's not really hard to stay on it. So
Yeah,
it's
because it
yeah.
made it
So
seem like you
it's
can
really good.
attack. You can use that monster to attack other monsters.
You can, yeah,
Okay.
you can. It's just awkward as fuck.
Okay.
Doesn't feel good. So maybe I'm wrong, but that's my impression of it so far.
I think it would be cool, like maybe like with the monster they did present, it's not the best example, but I can see
Mhm.
myself using it to fight two Diablos. It's like I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna clutch
Mm,
like wire bug one Diablos up and
mhm,
then use it to damage the other one as much as I can and then finish that Diablos off. So
mhm.
I can see that in that situation.
Yeah.
But no, I don't know, man. Like this fucking world is huge. Like the first area they give you is kind of big for a Switch
Mhm.
game. I
Yep.
don't know how they continue to do what they do with the Switch. Even with the next game we're going to talk about later on in the
Yeah.
episode,
Mhm.
the way these games look on the Switch and what the fuck they're doing, I'm like, do they even need another version? Like, I mean, of course they do, but it's like
Yeah. Yeah.
if they get another version, like how better are these games going to look on the fucking Switch if they get a more powerful version of the next Switch? So,
Mhm.
uh I don't know. I think this game's going to really sell really well, especially since the install base for
Yep.
Switch has increased drastically over
Oh,
the last year.
since Generations came out, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, this
So
game's gonna fucking dominate, I think.
yeah,
Like, I think Monster Hunter World brought Monster Hunter to the mainstream, and everybody that owns a PlayStation or an Xbox basically owns a Switch at this point.
it made so much sense to bring the next monster to Switch. Then yeah,
Yes, it did. And the thing is, the problem with the Switch here is that the frame rate's a problem.
yeah.
The game runs at like 25 frames. It feels like it does not look smooth at all. That is the biggest problem this game is going to have for me, is that getting used to that. And I think controls are a little awkward too, playing in handheld mode. Actually, I didn't really like it playing in handheld mode, whereas with Generations, it didn't feel that bad from what I remember. So I think the increased mobility, I'm gonna need to probably play this on a TV with the Pro controller, honestly, to really like get good control out of it. But in terms of the way the game looks, the character models look fucking awesome. Like I am super impressed with the character models. It's very obviously though at the expense of the environment. The environment looks really bad. There's some textures that are just laughably horrible. Like they
Yeah,
just look like
you can definitely tell
PS3.
they definitely stretched it out a little bit.
Mhm, mhm. So, um, so I mean, okay. So, what do you think of the combat though? Of what you tried? Like, what did you do? Did you do the just the first hunt, the one against like the little raptor enemy that's like a jaggy or whatever?
Yeah, so I used the hammer against him, and then
Mhm.
they use a shield and sword. The shield and sword is like gonna be, I can see that being the most popular weapon. I didn't use a dual blades yet.
Yeah.
Um, I am gonna try to use the dual blades probably sometime this weekend or when I have a little bit more free time. I was just doing a lot of projects this week,
Hmm.
um, and I just want to learn more tech because I saw someone like using the gun lance, and he almost did like an infinite jump
Yeah.
canceling thing where he was just like hovering in the air with the gun lance. It was insane. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm interested in seeing like some more tech come out when people dive into it and everything of that nature.
Yeah. Yeah, with Sword and Shield, I was actually watching a streamer play this game and he pointed out that turning slash looks like it's not it's either got taken out of the game or it's just not in the demo. which is basically it's a slash move that it allows you to turn 90 degrees, your character 90 degrees, which is extremely important actually in Monster Hunter. It sounds stupid, but like it really increases your ability, like your mobility and your ability to target specific parts and stuff on the
Okay.
fly. So that was apparently maybe taken out, but it might not have been in the demo. That's kind of my other problem with this demo is like we don't know what's gonna like what's not there, you know. Plus the builds they give you are kind of shit. Not
Yeah,
gonna lie.
the hammer build was really fucking awful. I didn't like it at
Same with
all.
the dual blades. It was terrible, dude. Oh my god, it was so bad. I couldn't stand it. It was like, yeah,
That's one thing I am worried about. Because they did have, I don't know if you saw it, but they did have Monster Hunter 3 armor kind of in there. And
mm-hmm.
I'm like, oh God,
Oh
please don't bring their Monster Hunter Try
yeah,
slash 3U to me had the worst armor design out of all the Monster Hunters.
yeah.
It didn't
No, it
it
was
did not
pretty
get good.
generic.
Yeah, it didn't get back good until shit. I'll even say uh generations. Because
I
even
think
like
four was
World,
good.
yeah, 4 was good. But Generations to me was like had the best armor design because probably because it had all of them in there. But yeah, 4 was really good. They went back to that old style of armor, um, which is really weird because the armored style I wanted them to go back to was the original art style. You know how the 4U slash
Mm-hmm.
Generation art style.
Mm-hmm.
I actually, I mean, we both said that we don't really like the armor design of World. Like it's too
Yeah,
realistic. Like they tried
right.
too hard to make it like westernized. Like I didn't want that shit. I wanted some crazy like Power
Yep.
Ranger looking shit that I'm
Yep.
I'm fucking
Yep.
have it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So hopefully it's a mixture of both because the armor design I saw so far I wasn't really too impressed with.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't like the dual blades armor set that they gave. It did not look very good. The weapons were weird too. They just I don't know. They didn't even look like swords. It was really strange. But I will say in terms of move set, I think the wire bug attacks are really gonna be nice to differentiate the gameplay a little bit, which is something I complain about with dual blades and World a lot. Is that the gameplay really just boiled down to a fucking demon mode all the time. Just
Yeah.
you use your demon mode combo as much as you could. Like, so that at least with the wire bug moves, there's a little bit more that you can do, and you'll be able. It'll probably be optimal to throw those in every once in a while to kind of give yourself a chance to throw the monster into the wall and knock him over. So that's pretty cool. I'll also I will say that the design of the monsters that I've seen actually does look pretty cool. So I
Yeah.
am excited to see more of that. And the area, like you said, is very large. It is bigger than it feels like it's bigger than anything that was in World,
Nah, I doubt
which
that. I doubt that.
dude, I don't man, it was huge, man. It was pretty big, man. I don't know. I mean, because you have the dog now that you can mount and run around with, and I mean, it makes the area seem smaller than it is because you're running around it faster. But I don't know, dude. Like, I mean, okay, maybe it's bigger than the. I don't know. Maybe you're right. I'm thinking about the ancient forest, and the ancient forest like has all these like layers to it and
Yeah,
stuff. You're right.
exactly.
Never mind.
Yeah.
You're right. Okay. You're right. I'm thinking
Yeah.
about it more, and you're totally right. But I don't know. The areas are big though for the handheld games. Like they're pretty big. And it's all one map too. There's no more of that loading bullshit that they were still doing with Generations Ultimate, where you loaded between each area. It was awful. I hated that. So that's good. That's definitely a good thing. I don't know. I'm encouraged. I was not super excited about this game when it was announced, the way a lot of other people were. But playing this demo, I'm definitely much more intrigued. I'm just getting bummed out because I know we're not getting G rank with this game.
Has that been
Like
confirmed?
no, it hasn't. But I mean, it would be really unusual for them to do that. Right?
Yeah, you're right. They always do a Monster Hunter whatever, and then Monster Hunter whatever U or
Yeah.
G or
Right.
whatever. So
Yeah, and it's turning into a thing where I'm having to play Monster Hunter like basically once a year, and I don't know. I don't know if I'm into that,
I mean
because this
that's
game
just Capcom at this point, man.
it takes so much time, bro. It does.
Well, at least last time with generations, they were able. You're like you can transfer your progress over to generations. You. So I did like that. Um,
Yeah, but the way they designed Iceborne, right, is like it was basically a whole new game. you know? So it was like, fuck, man. I'm hoping that doesn't happen here. I'm hoping it's more like the older Monster Hunters where G rank just is like more added on top and doesn't like take fucking 50 hours to beat. It's just
yeah.
more like 10 or 20 hours of, haunts and stuff. But I don't know. We'll see. I'm premature. We don't even know if that's confirmed, but, I feel like it's pretty likely it probably won't be in this version of the game, but we'll see. We'll see. Are you disappointed there's no new weapon types?
No. To be honest with you, I'm not. I think they have. I would rather them increase the move set of the weapons that we do have
Mhm.
than increase the weapon amounts that we have. I just
Yeah.
want to. I think when I was playing World, I just felt like it was even in Iceborne, it was severely lacking, especially coming from. And the reason I say this is because Generation spoiled me with their
Yeah.
hunter arts. I feel
Yep.
like that should just make a comeback, and the way that each hunter art like changed the way you play the game as far as
Mhm.
your move set for your weapons, I just thought was like fucking phenomenal, and I
Yep.
really want to go back to that because that brave stance is just I actually played in Generations the other day, and I was just like, man, Brave Stance is the GOAT. Like, holy shit. Like, it's
Dude,
crazy how
remember
good.
that fucking counter I had as a bow user? You
Yeah.
remember that?
Yep.
That like it wasn't a counter, it was the dodge or whatever. That like I could dodge any attack or whatever. It was
Yep.
fuck, man. Like that shit. God damn it. Like, yeah, that the hunter arts were I was kind of blown away by how fucking cool they were for most weapons, and how useful they were for most weapons too. And I like going from that back to Monster Hunter World was kind of really disappointing.
Yeah. I
To
was
be
the
honest,
same way.
yeah, just because, yeah, it's like I said, and Dual Blade specifically was just such a boring weapon in World. Like it was so like it had two combos, and that was pretty much it. And it was
Yeah.
like, so
And with Generations, I remember for especially for Shield and Sword and Dual Blades, you can build up your hunter arts very quickly in battle and just
yeah.
keep spamming them. So
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, we'll definitely be checking that out. I think both of us will probably be getting it at launch. I assume it's honestly the first new game this year I'm planning on buying. I think, and it is coming out at the end of March, I believe. Right? Is that right? I think it was like
yeah.
March 26th or something like that. So
Yeah.
we got some time. There is a demo on the eShop though. If you're interested, you want to check it out on Switch. You can. So okay, let's get into the news. 55 minutes into the show, or 53, I think.
Well, we don't have that
Uh,
much to talk about, so
yeah, we're gonna blast through this. So,
yeah.
first news story. Riot has confirmed that League of Legends Wild Rift is going to be having an open beta in North America in March. They have not confirmed the platforms that this is going to be on, but betas in the past have primarily been on Android and iOS. But this game is also coming to consoles, so I'm not sure if it's going to be on those with this beta. I'm sure we'll find out closer to it. But Montreal, you're a big League fan. Obviously, we just talked about League for like 30 minutes. Are you interested in this as somebody who plays the PC version, or do you think this is for more casual players who want to play League but don't want to get into the PC craziness?
Yeah, I think that is. I'm curious. I can actually see it on mobile because I've actually played some MOBAs before. So
Yeah.
that's not the biggest surprise that they moved League to mobile. It's
Mhm.
very doable.
Yeah.
My biggest surprise is that console, a lot of the moves sets that they have, like I can't see you doing it with the controller.
Yeah.
Maybe some of the enemies, but not all. Maybe some of the characters, but not all of the characters' alts. They would definitely have to alternate some alts and everything of that nature. And I think that's why the Wild Rift. That's why they changed it as well to
That's
Wild
why it's a
Rift.
different game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's why it's a different game.
It's this. It's the same concept of Summoner's Rift, but they're changing stuff around because I personally believe I haven't played Wild Rift yet, but there are some characters who you just can't use with a keyboard, or you have to use with the keyboard and mouse. Like there's no way around that.
Well,
So
anybody that has pets, like, I don't know how you would control your pets with a controller, you know?
exactly,
Like,
and he's a
that
good
sounds
example of that.
impossible.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and even in the beta, like they're slowly rolling out characters. So I think the beta only comes with like 10 or 12 characters, and even when the game fully comes out, they're only probably going to have like 20 champions compared to the
Mhm.
149 champions that are available
Is that what
on.
they're up to? Oh my
Yeah.
god, dude.
Um. So, so yeah, they would just have to slowly adjust and remake champions and stuff like that. And
Mhm.
I think it's really cool though. As long as more people get into it, like I'm cool with it. I think unfortunately, MOBAs are one of those games that are has a large audience, but not outside its community. So you can have 3 or 4 or 5 million people playing concurrently, but they're all scattered and like no
Mhm.
one really knows of like League of Legends or Dota, or they played it back in like season 1 or 2 or some shit like that, and they don't play it anymore. So
Yeah, it's hard. Okay, MOBAs are weird because yeah, MOBAs like they have this. I don't know. This is hard to explain. They're like niche games that are fucking huge. You know,
yeah,
like because basically like what it is that there's a huge audience that loves these games, but outside of that, like getting new players into these games is almost impossible. You know,
it's like football
mainstream
for
gamers
America.
don't yeah, mainstream gamers don't care about MOBAs at all.
Yeah, yeah,
Like at all.
it's like American football, how
Yeah.
it's super fucking popular in the United States, but like everywhere else, they're just like, it's
Yeah,
okay.
right. It's
Yeah,
mid.
yeah, it's mid,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, like yeah. So yeah, it's an interesting thing. I think this is I'm gonna be honest with you, when this comes out on PS5, like I'm probably gonna download it. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay.
I like because dude, I want to get back into MOBAs. I do, I really do. It's just I'm just in such an awkward position because I don't want to play League that much, but I want to play with you guys. So it's like fuck, do I play Dota by myself or do I like get into League and like play with you guys but be shit at it, you know? Like the way
Well, I
you feel
mean,
about playing Apex, it's like, yeah, I don't know.
it's okay because we can carry you. I mean, we're playing Norm, so like no one's really trying hard anyway. I mean, all
I
Jet's gonna do
know.
is flash, flash
Andy,
all
yeah.
for Andy. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah.
Uh,
I need to play on my own, I think, and like, get a feel for the characters because that's the problem is like you said 149 champions. Trying to learn all those, dude, having not played the game in 10 years. Fuck, man, it was so overwhelming, dude. Like I was like, who is this fucker? Like who is this guy? Like I don't like what is he even doing? I don't know what his abilities do. Like it's so annoying. That's the problem with these games. There's such a huge learning curve, which is why there's such a turn off. Is like all that stuff we were talking about earlier, man. So I get it. This makes sense. I think this is going to be pretty successful actually for Riot. The thing about it is though, is I think they need to be careful into not just turning it into League of Legends like console where it has 150 characters in 10 years. It's like they got to be careful with that. I think they need to figure out a different way to like expand this game than the normal way they're doing it with League
yeah, they
because they don't.
definitely need to have more modes. So
Yes, that too. They need to experiment more with that, I think, as well. Because yeah, the point of this is to reduce the barrier of entry, right? You don't want to
yeah,
build the game up to the point where that barrier of entry is basically where League is now. It's like that doesn't make any sense. So,
it's funny though. Smite has really taken off. I've seen a lot of casual players like on my
mhm,
timeline that I would never think touch MOBAs. They love
mhm,
Smite and they play regular version, minions and all.
yeah,
Two
it's because you
tower.
can do it with a controller. That
Yeah,
game's controller designed. It's designed for a controller.
yeah, that's
Like,
true.
and
That's true.
it's on consoles. It's on all of them, I think.
Yeah, it is.
So
Yeah,
that's a big reason I think it has taken off because remember the one Epic made? What was it called?
Paragon. Ah, that
Paragon.
so
Yeah,
good.
yeah. I played it a little bit, and I was like, "Huh, damn! It sucks that Fortnite took off."
Yeah.
you know, 'Cause, yeah. Like I actually think Epic had something there, and they had it before Smite did. Even though Smite was out, Smite was a PC game at that point in time,
Yeah.
and wasn't like hadn't migrated to consoles yet. I think Epic could have had something with that game, but they gave it up because VR took off and
Yeah.
Fortnite did. But
Yeah.
so Smite kind of took the vacuum that they left there and just kind of took that spot, I think, at this point. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I'm gonna keep my eyes on this game for sure, and we'll see kind of what it looks like. But yeah, so beta in March. If you're interested in that, keep an eye out. All right, next story. This one's almost kind of like a meme to me, but I kind of wanted to bring it up anyways because we need to have this conversation on the podcast, Montreal. Like we need to come to Jesus about Tetsuya Nomura. So Square Enix trademarked some names recently in December, and they're just now becoming public. They filed trademarks for these. So the First Soldier is one, Ever Crisis, and then the Shinra logo as well. And the speculation ran fucking wild on Twitter. Okay, everybody's like, "Oh God, we're getting side games for Final Fantasy VII Remake?" And I mean, Montreal, where's your head at with this, man? Are you excited? Because you were pretty hyped, okay? Because you love Zap.
Yeah,
Like,
I was joking. I don't think anything's gonna come out of it like right now. Maybe for the next 3 years, you may see something. Um,
yeah, but
I
do you think
honestly
we're gonna get side games?
mobile.
Oh fuck. Because, dude, okay, this is the thing. This is the thing, right? Is like we talked about this when we played the game, right? At
Yeah.
the end of the game, right? It became very Kingdom Hearts ish, and
Oh my god.
I am concerned that Tetsuya Nomura is not gonna be stopped, and he's gonna turn Final Fantasy VII Remake into a Kingdom Hearts game basically, and it's gonna be nonsense where there's fucking 10 side games
The
and
thing
all this
is,
nonsense
Justin,
happens.
I don't
Yeah,
think he has to work that hard. The thing is, I think we already have side games for Final Fantasy VII.
true,
We got
true.
Cerberus, the Cerberus. I can't remember that damn.
You think they're gonna remake those maybe?
I think they should. I think especially the Cerberus game. I can see it with better controls. That game
Mhm.
being viable.
Yeah.
Maybe if they make it like a more of like a Devil May Cry-ish type game instead of like a third person shooter, or like
Mhm.
Vanquish. They can make it like more like a Vanquish or a Bayonetta type game.
Okay.
Uh, but yeah, I can definitely see them remaking Crisis Core. Like they even have to remake it; they just remaster that shit.
They should.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, they should though. With how important that game already is to the story, even though I haven't played it, I know for a fact like playing that game is extremely important for where Final Fantasy VII Remake left everything. Like
yeah.
it's kind of obnoxious. So that's my point about him though, is that he's already making that game vital, you know?
That's why I think we would never like our word would never be heard over his word because he knows how, as creative as he is, uh he also knows how to monetize his creativity. That's what he did with
Yeah.
kind of Kingdom Hearts. Like I
Right.
think all those games that came out was just his ideas of him wanting to try stuff, and he knew that people would buy it. So like
Yeah.
Square Enix would already greenlit it, so it doesn't
Yeah.
matter,
Yeah.
you know. So
Yeah.
greenlight it rather. So it
Right.
doesn't matter. So like each game had a different gameplay aspect of Kingdom Hearts, and I think that's going to be the same case with Final Fantasy VII and its franchise. That's going to because I think they're trying to bring this franchise back as far as like, yeah, everyone who played it was in 1997. Now it's fucking 2021, and we have 14 to 15-year-olds who really don't know who Cloud is except for outside Smash Brothers. So
Right.
I think they're trying to build that fan base up for them for 20 years from now. They're like, man, remember when I saw Cloud or remember when Sephiroth killed Tifa instead of fucking Aerith? I don't know. I'm just fucking speculating. Like, like,
Yeah,
so,
that's
like
crazy, man.
I think that's going to be their thing, and I think that's why he's doing his time. Like, I don't mind the
Mhm.
shake up. Like, if he does
Yeah.
some kind of shake
I don't
up
either.
to where the time thing, like, yeah, maybe Tifa does die, or fucking I think her name's Yuffie.
Yuffie, yeah, or
Yeah,
Yuffie, I don't
yeah, Yuffie, she dies or something like that, or I don't know,
Mhm.
someone else dies instead of like the typical story that we know. I think that would
Yeah.
be cool. And some of the spin-off games, I understand where you're going. The problem is
Mhm.
I don't want the spin-off games to be a major aspect to the main story. Like,
No, that's what I'm saying. I don't either.
yeah,
Uh, dude, like this is a huge red flag for me if we start getting side games, like new ones, because I was in on this for 3 games, I'm in on this for 3 games, especially after playing the first part. I was sold on it. But dude, if we are going down this road though, this 10-year road where the game is going to take, it's going to take 10 years before part 3 comes out, and we have 4 side games in there that are vital to the story that's being told in part 3, I don't know if I have it in me for that shit anymore, Like, I don't want to play that many games, dude. Like, the story, like, no story needs that many games to be told. I'm sorry. I don't care what it is. Like, 3 games, it doesn't even need 3 games to be told, to be honest. Like, it can be told in 1. So that's my problem, is like the bloat that happens with his stuff, with Nomura's stuff, is like, it's just at a certain point, it's like too much for me. It's become too much, and I think Kingdom Hearts 3 was like the thing that like really called this out to me, is that it's like, what was all that for? 20 years of this, man. What was it all for? Nothing. It was a disappointment and rage. It's like, I don't. So I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, we're speculating. Okay, these
Yeah,
aren't.
yeah,
There's
these are
nothing
just
confirmed.
speculation. Yeah,
These are just fucking trademarks. They could mean nothing. They could literally be forgotten to the annals of time. It's
I
like,
do think
but
maybe
I don't know.
I think the crisis core thing, I think maybe they are breaking something with like the Ever Crisis. That to
Yeah,
me, the whole Ever Crisis thing sounded really markety-ish, if that makes any sense. Like I don't think it's
yeah,
gonna be anything that may be a game or it may just be like
yeah.
some kind of market thing.
Tie-in or something.
Yeah.
But then, dude, like the first soldier, that's Sephiroth, right? So it's like, are we gonna have a Sephiroth prequel game? Like, no, please, God, no. Like, ugh.
I can see that, like seeing his first missions and stuff like that. I can definitely see it because even I feel like Crisis Core was like hinting towards that, like he would go off on missions and stuff. What happened on those missions and stuff like that, but you'll read
Mhm.
briefings of what happened to him and everything of that nature.
Yeah.
So
Ugh,
I can
kill me.
see that happening. Um, uh, I think the Shinber thing. I don't. I think that's just for pure like if
Yeah.
someone wanted to make something that had Shinra, they would have the rights to it. They can't do it. I don't think that was like anything big.
Merch.
Yeah,
Merch.
exactly. Merch.
Yeah.
So that's what I think that was about. But maybe the Ever Crisis, that sounds to me like some kind of marketing thing, like microtransaction type shit. I don't know why. Maybe because, I know why, because the Destiny is called the Eververse. That's what their microtransaction is called.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
the Ever Crisis, that's what it sounds like to me. But
Yeah.
that could be an actual game. So, but I didn't even think about the first soldier thing. I think that may be another actual game or maybe merch. But
A movie or something. Who knows?
yeah,
Yeah.
I can see them
Great.
doing another movie because a lot of people first encounter with Final Fantasy as well was Advent Children.
Advent Children, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. 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 Well, guys, if they do announce a game, we'll let you know, and we will tear them a new one. Probably, maybe, depends on how it looks. If it's fucking dope, then I don't know. I might play it, but we'll see. We'll take it as it comes. All right. Next story is Square Enix related as well. So this one is like, I'm sure a lot of people aren't going to care about this one, but I wanted to talk about it because Outriders, which is the game being made by People Can Fly and being published by Square Enix, this is the live service game that was announced a couple E3s ago, and we've seen very little of this game. Has been delayed until April 1st, 2021. Yes, it's coming on April Fool's Day. They call that out. It's not a joke. It's a real date. However, there's going to be a February demo that's coming out pre-launch on the 25th of February that will have all the classes in the game in it. They said there's 9 classes. So they're moving the date, giving us a demo. Montrell, I'm bringing this up because obviously we're coming off Square eating shit with Avengers, right?
yeah.
Which is also a live service game. Do you think? Is there anything in here that you think is them reacting to that a little bit, or do you think this is actually a delay where they need more time, or you know,
A little
it's
bit
just
of
weird they
both.
yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
I know this game has been in the works for a while now, like a
Hmm.
while. I remember
Yeah.
I thought they were supposed to release it last year. I actually thought it came out last year, but I think that was like another game.
Hmm.
Um, and I do remember seeing gameplay footage for it because they had like some influencers. I fucking hate that word now. They had some
Yep.
influencers play the game, and the game looked pretty solid. I mean, it looked like a mix of like Diablo meets Mass Effect, and I was like, oh,
Hmm.
I'm on board for this. The only problem is I think the fucking the hype behind it is just not there. There's no
No one's talking about it.
yeah, no one's talking about it. And I don't need fucking cyberpunk level hype, but I need
Yeah.
people to at least know like, oh man, this game
Well,
looks
Square needs
cool.
that though. That's kind of my point, right? It's like no one's talking about this game, and I have a feeling it's going to just come out and die, And I think Square's aware of that, probably. And I think the demo thing is an attempt by them to garner interest in this game pre-launch because all of a sudden, when I saw this, I'm like, I might download the demo and
I mean,
check it out,
I'm definitely gonna download it and check it out. I mean,
Yeah, fuck it. Why not? I might take give it a look. You never know, dude. It could just hit a chord and it's fucking great. Who knows? It's worth a shot. So it's a savvy move on their part, I will say. But at the same time, it does also wreak a little bit of like fear. Like I don't think like if this game had the proper hype behind it, there would definitely not be a demo because demos are a thing. It's kind of funny. Demos generally are a thing for the most part to build hype, but they can also take hype away. Like if a game is overhyped and the demo comes out and it's not very good,
mhm.
it can kind of blunt people's excitement for a game, right?
Yeah.
Remember Anthem had a demo, right? Pre-launch. Remember we all played it. Like me, you, and Jet
Mhm.
played it, and that kind of sold us on the game, right? And then the game came out, and it was like, well, fuck, the demo was kind of most of it.
Exactly.
It's like fuck, dude. So you got to be like careful with it. But that's the thing about it is like the way these publishers use it, developers use it, is very insightful to how they view the game. So I don't know. We'll see. It's interesting.
Yeah,
So like I said, I'm gonna
it's
check it out.
yeah, it's
But
definitely interesting. I'm gonna check it out myself. I don't know. I think the Avengers, even though it still cashed in a lot of money, maybe they're just putting that cash towards other projects now at this point. I can't see them. I know people have this like vague hope that they're still gonna work on this game, and maybe they are. I just don't see them working on Avengers like that anymore.
mhm.
I see them putting that cash towards other projects, and maybe they're doing this for that. Like they're trying to put a little bit more cash into it. Like, hey, we can polish it up a little bit more, put a little bit more in-game content in it, and things of that nature.
Mhm.
So hopefully we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. All right, next one. This one's pretty much for me and me alone. But so Grim Dawn's developer, Crate Entertainment. I've talked about them plenty. They're basically one of my favorite game devs. They on Monday announced that they are ending new development on Grim Dawn. So it's over. We're coming up on the 5-year mark of the game coming out. It's almost been 10 years, I think, since the Kickstarter for the game launched. I think it was 2012 that the Kickstarter for the game launched. Might have even been earlier than that. I don't know. So this game's been on a very long journey, but the journey was worth it. Like this game is phenomenal. It's a great game. I recommend everybody play it. But Crate has continued to add new content to this game, despite the fact that the last expansion came out 2 years ago. They've continued adding new content to this game post launch of that expansion, which is very much appreciated. But we all kind of knew this was coming. Those of us who still play Grim Dawn and pay attention. It's not super surprising, but it is a little sobering. It was kind of becoming it's almost like a meme to me at this point that new Grim Dawn updates were like just part of my life for the last like 9 years because I've been following this game for a long time. I started playing it, I think, in early access in like 2013, dude. It was a long fucking time ago, man. That I picked this game up, and I've been playing it for years since. And just to be at the end of that is, it's a little sad. It's great for Crate. I'm very happy for them. They've had huge success off this game, deservedly so. But for them to kind of finally kind of shut the door a little bit on it and move on to the next thing it's a little bit of a bummer. But that next thing has been announced properly, and it is called Farthest Frontier, and it is a medieval city builder that does look fairly appealing. I've never really gotten into this genre before, but I do think Crate's going to be the first
That's
ones to get me into it.
interesting.
Uh,
You know why?
yes,
Because this game reminds me of this other game, and I couldn't remember the name of the game until I looked into the
is
comments.
it
Banished.
Banished?
Yes,
Yeah.
I played the
Yep.
fuck out of that game, and don't ask me the fuck why. 'Cause I did.
Well, yes, so this does remind me of that too. I never played that game, but I remember the aesthetic of it, and this definitely looks like that. But Crate is a very deliberate developer. They do not release shit that is borked or not ready for prime time. And this game has been in development for quite a while, actually, at least 3 years, maybe even four.
Okay.
So this game's probably coming this year. I'm pretty sure. I actually think one of the developers did say that their plan is to get it out this year. They're not committing to that, but that's their plan. Plans can change, obviously, but yeah, and I mean, I I don't know. I mean, I'm gonna play anything they release at this point. That's the kind of like fan I am of them at this point. So I'm gonna try this game for sure. But yeah, it's just exciting to see them kind of move forward. Like they're not gonna stick with ARPGs. They'll I think there will be a Grim Dawn 2 down the road someday. But I'm happy that they're branching out because they are talented, and I hate when talented developers stick in the same genre and just keep making the same fucking game over and over and over and over and over again. Naughty
Yeah.
Dog, like it's nice to see them branch out and try different things and really bring their type of development to different genres.
Yeah.
So yeah, Farthest Frontier. There's a website for it. You can check out their forums, all that. Um, it's I don't know,
I
looks good. Let's keep it
yeah.
going.
I think another way to get people like really interested in this, if you guys like, I played this game Bandish, like I don't want to say depressed, but it was
Hey
2014.
man, dude, we get depressed sometimes. It happens.
Yeah, it was like 2014, 15. I discovered it. It was like $30 on Steam, and I had like
Mhm.
a nice little gaming laptop. And I was like, I'm gonna play it. And I played it, and it kept me interested for hours. Only problem with Bandit, it really didn't have any long term like goals. It was just like you build your farm or your city up and everything of that nature. And I was
Mhm.
also disappointed that it didn't have any kind of like war aspects to it. Like you couldn't really fight other
Mhm.
factions. So hopefully they do that with this game because it is a medieval
They
game.
do. There is raiders and
Ah, cool.
wildlife and stuff that attacks you, so and
Okay,
things like
yeah.
that. So it's not just a strict city builder. There is like an element of survival to it as well. I don't know if you can fight other settlements. They haven't
They
really
haven't
gone that deep
confirmed
into the
that yet.
gameplay,
Okay.
but we'll see.
Yeah,
We're gonna find out more. So
but to get other people interested that may not have been interested in it, I think if you like Stardew Valley, if you like Harvest Moon, you like those type of games, I think maybe you should try to give Banish and Frontier a shot because those games may be up your alley. Even if you
mhm.
like The Sims or Sim Cities or anything like that,
Yep. Yep.
these games are definitely like that. These are more, I say, more high quality than The Sims. Is more detailed in my opinion. Um,
Yes.
Instead of like Sim City, rather, it's more detailed than Sim City because you can do a lot more stuff. So that's just for like the
Yeah.
casual people who are listening and they like those type of games.
Man, yeah, these screenshots look fucking good, dude. The like building models and stuff and just the foliage like looks really detailed. I'm really really impressed with what I'm seeing here. So, but I'm a crate simp, so, whatever. My opinion's heavily laced with bias. Okay, let's move on to our next one, which is Nintendo today. Oh, actually, sorry, I'm skipping a story.
Yeah.
I got them reversed. So we've been hearing a lot of rumors about Mass Effect Legendary Edition. It was confirmed as a game, but when is it coming out? So, this was leaked last week. Well, actually, yeah, it was last week. That it is supposedly coming on March 12th. Some retailers listed the game with that date. Now, that is not a strict confirmation that it's coming on that date. However, this has been fairly rock solid in the past when these kind of things happen. The date could definitely still move, but I wouldn't be surprised if that's the date. So, I mean, Montreal, March 12th. That's not very far. It's actually 2 months from today, the day we're recording. I mean, man, playing through the whole series again?
Yes, I will do it. I'm gonna play through the entire series. I also have to buy like 2 or 3 people the game as
Oh, that's
well.
right. That's
Yeah.
right.
So
Yeah, yeah,
I'm definitely
yeah.
I'm not pre-ordering it though. Like a lot of people are like, "Oh, you gonna pre-order it?" Nope, still not pre-ordering it.
Definitely not.
I'm totally over pre-ordering. But I can't wait to play the game um at 4K, like
Mhm.
60 frame. I'm hoping it pushes itself to 60 frames. They have a
Yeah.
performance mode in it, or a graphical mode, or whatever the case may be. I'm hoping it has that, and I really, I yeah, I just can't wait. Like, I really can't wait. Hopefully,
Yeah,
they,
I'm looking forward
they
to it
make some
too.
technical improvements to the game, like just some quality of life stuff they can do.
Mhm.
That really doesn't require an overhaul of the game, but just quality of life shit. But yeah, I'm excited to play through it, especially if we're getting another Mass Effect in this version of Mass Effect universe. I can't wait.
Yeah, same. Yeah, with faster loading times and all that, dude. Because I remember playing Mass Effect 2 on PS3, and it was awful. Not gonna lie. Even back then, the load times were horrific, like
Yes.
horrific. Like it was so unbearable. So, yeah, to play this on a console with an SSD, and I can platinum the game, probably platinum all 3 games or whatever. I'm really excited about that. So, and now, unfortunately, March 12th is 2 weeks before Monster Hunter Rise comes out, and man, I don't know, man. We're getting the calendar starting to fill up,
Yeah,
Montreal,
I know, man. It's
and
crazy.
yeah, it's I felt like I was gonna have months of backlog time, and I'm already starting to feel that tightness
Yeah,
happening with it. So we'll see, but it's exciting nonetheless. The sooner we get it, the better. I want to play these
yeah.
games again. So yeah. Okay. Next story. The one I was trying to talk about before. Nintendo dropped a trailer today about their Super Mario 3D World remaster that they're re-releasing for Switch, and they did give a date for it. It's coming on February 12th. But they also announced something else as well with this. Is a new part of the game. They're adding stuff. They do this pretty typically with these re-releases of their games. They've done it several times, in fact. So this game is going to be called Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury, and there was a trailer to accompany this. And I mean, Marshall, before I get into my feelings on this, what did you think about this, man?
I actually liked it. It was like Mario went Super Saiyan Cat,
Mhm.
and Bowser's like fucking. He looks fucking sweet, yo. Like
He does
holy
look sick, and they had this like heavy metal music
yeah.
playing when he came out and everything, dude. I was like, "What? What is going on here? This is pretty
So
sick."
I
But
have a history
yeah,
with this game. Me and my friends played the fucking shit out of this game when it was on the Wii U, and it
yeah,
was the funnest shit I've ever played. Like any Mario
really,
game. Yeah, it was so fucking fun. Um,
damn, that's cool.
we were playing like it was 4 players, like because you can do levels with other players and stuff like that. And yeah, that
Mhm.
shit was just fucking fun. So I'm like super stoked this game's coming to the Switch. Um, but yeah, this looks like from what I read, like this looks like a fucking Breath of the Wild, but Mario style, but not as big as Breath of the Wild, obviously. But the world
Yeah,
and everything like that. So I think it looked fucking sick though.
yeah, yeah. I mean, the game looks sick. I never played this game on Wii U, and I always felt a little bad about it because I heard it was fantastic. So I do want to pick this up. I don't know if I'm going to play it right away, but I do want to get this game. The thing about this trailer, though, Montreal, and I can't escape this, and maybe I'm just a degenerate, but when I saw the trailer, I saw the name, and then I watched the whole thing, and I couldn't get it out of my head. It's Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Furry trailer, and Mario's in a fucking cat costume running around, and then he goes and he uses the power of cats to get like supersized, and Bowser's sitting here looking all hardcore, and Mario's just like in this cute little fucking you know cat costume, and it just I don't know, man. Bowser's Furry. I mean, Nintendo, come on. Did you not think about that when you came up with the name? Like, I mean, it's literally like right there staring in your face, dude. Like
It-
Mario's wearing a cat
They
costume,
don't care, man. They know their audience. Look at their DLC for some of their games, bro. Like, come on, man.
True,
They know their
true,
audience.
true, true, true. I know they're a bunch of degenerates. I will say there are probably some hilarious memes about this already. I assume that have happened because yeah, it's just I mean it's just there. Like I don't know. So, but the game looks sick. I'm not gonna lie. It did look really cool. And Bowser, this is probably the coolest looking Bowser I think I've
Yeah,
ever
this
seen.
is the coolest version
Like
of
straight
Bowser.
up,
Yeah.
it's sick, man. He's got this like charcoal look, but his hair is like on fire basically, and the tips of his spikes are like like heated up. They look like they're like they could like fucking cook a I don't know chicken straight up raw. Yeah. So it looks pretty cool.
Yeah, this looks way
So
better like than the Giga Bowser that was on Melee. Like I thought that
oh
Bowser looked really sick.
god, that was awful. I hated that design of
Really? I like
Bowser.
that design.
I hate it. I hate it so much, dude. He looks horrific, like a
Yeah, I
nightmare
think that was the
fuel, dude.
point. That was the
Like,
point they were trying to make.
I know, but I don't know. Yeah,
And
this one is
this one looks like a legitimate nightmare though. Like I can see this one. They're like, oh, this is just a Mario's worst nightmare or some shit like that. But yeah,
yeah. It's just Dark Bowser.
yeah,
I, I like it. Kind of looks like a Smash Bros. Like generic villain that they'd put in,
yeah.
in like the Subspace Emissary or something, like a version of Bowser that's like a certain skin or whatever. That's kind of what it looks like, but I don't know. It looks cool to me. So, all right. So yeah, that's February 12th. That game's coming out. So a month from the day we're recording. So, okay, we got one more story. This one is definitely very interesting. So Bethesda dropped a teaser on Twitter today. And it is an Indiana Jones game that is going to be made by Machine Games and is executive produced by Todd Howard. Montrell, do you want an Indiana Jones game? Is that something that sounds fun to you?
So I'm not gonna lie. Ever since I played Drake, Uncharted,
Yeah.
I'm like, I wouldn't mind an actual Indiana Jones game. I
Mm-hmm.
like Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
I never had any aversion to that series at all.
Mm-hmm.
It just never really translated well to video games. I think because Tomb Raider and Uncharted already kind of filled that void that people had.
Mm-hmm.
But to see that personality on video game, I think would be cool. There was
Yeah.
an Indiana Jones game I do remember. I can't remember if it was good or not, so forgive me for my memory. Um, a lot of people were like upset that Bethesda's making it. They're like, "Oh my god, Todd Howard! He's just an executive producer that they really don't
It's
do too much."
not going to have any real input here.
Yeah. The people that are making it though is Machine Games, and
Yeah.
they made Wolfenstein, which I really
Yep.
love, and that's a good
Mm-hmm.
game. So I have faith they're gonna do this. They're gonna do this game justice. Someone made a tweet today about
Yeah.
about Machine Games. They're like 2015 killing Nazis, 2016 killing Nazis, 2017 killing Nazis, 2019 killing Nazis. Newer game killing Nazis with a little bit of archaeology on the side. I just thought that was
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah. It is funny. I mean that's their whole gameography, right? But yeah, I mean like honestly if this is Uncharted style, I mean Uncharted is so obviously inspired by Indiana Jones as well as Tomb Raider, but it's so obviously inspired by that. It's like I mean it kind of makes itself, honestly. It's
Yeah,
like a real no-brainer to me of a kind of a game series. The fact that Machine Games is making it though is interesting because this is gonna be a different style of game for them for sure.
yeah, it is. Yeah,
It's not gonna like. I mean, I'm sure there's gonna be combat in it, but I don't know. It kind of makes me wonder like what the style of it's gonna be. Is it gonna be third person, first person?
I hope it's third person.
I
Because
agree. I
what I
think
really want is I want the old Tomb Raider style to come back. Don't get me wrong, I like the newer style of Tomb Raiders. I just don't think they had as the older Tomb Raiders, Tomb Raider like 1 through 3
mhm,
had like these huge, well, they were huge to me at the time. These huge levels that had like, intersecting design where you had to progress through the level, and then you had to backtrack and stuff like that through puzzles and things of that nature, and you had to remember
yeah,
where you had to go. So it was like a puzzle within the level,
mhm,
almost like a Metroidvania type thing within each level. And they
mhm,
had like 15 of these levels. That was like a Metroidvania type thing, but with Tomb Raider, and you had to get these artifacts, and you had to put artifacts in certain things. You had to remember, where they go. And I really loved that. And they kind of took that
Mhm.
away with the new Tomb Raider. And I didn't really get that as well with the Drake series, with Uncharted. I said the Drake series, the Uncharted series. I didn't really get that because that was more of a movie style game.
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
hoping they really take it back to that old Tomb Raider, where you have to like you're actually in a tomb and you're like, oh, I got to figure this shit out. Yeah, they're like bears and stuff trying to kill me. I
Yeah.
take them out, but the main aspect of the game was just exploring the level, getting these artifacts, putting them in certain like orders, and unlocking hidden doors and going further
Mhm.
and further into the dungeon. And that's what I really missed about Tomb Raider. And I hope when they do that as well, even though I know Indiana Jones is more so about all the music and everything of that nature as well. Uh,
Right.
Tomb Raider had the whole boulder pit thing, like Indiana Jones. They had spike pits and stuff like that, and that's what I want.
Mhm.
I really want that to come back within the series or within gaming in general. I just remember for Tomb Raider, for me, uh, it was just like you would be playing the game and there would be large sections of the game where there's no music, just like your footsteps. And you can hear like, and this is like with a
Mm.
PS1, and you can hear like wolves howling in the background that may come attack you if you go into a certain room. Or at one point you're fighting velociraptors. Don't ask me why. You fought a giant T-Rex as well. Um, and that shit, like, it was just fucking fun, and it was just like it built the atmosphere. And I hope they do that with this Indiana Jones, where they make it uh Indiana Jones style. You got the music and everything like that. But I do want large sections where it's just like I'm in this dungeon alone and I need to figure out how the fuck to get out, or
Yeah.
what to find and stuff like that. Because I really love the archaeology genre of video games like that. I don't even know what to call that genre because I don't want to say like survival because it's not like a survival thing. But I was just really disappointed that Uncharted really didn't have that, whereas Tomb Raider
Yeah.
did.
Mhm.
And even the newer style Tomb Raider kind of took the Uncharted route, and I really didn't like that as well. So uh,
Well, so I don't know. I think the thing is like Uncharted. Actually, the new Tomb Raider to me is a lot different from Uncharted.
it is in that aspect.
It's got a way darker tone to it.
Yeah,
It is a lot more serious. Where Uncharted is kind of like an action movie that doesn't necessarily take itself too seriously most of the time.
yeah,
And I will say those moments you're talking about, Uncharted has them. They're just like very short generally, and they're kind of split up a lot. Where it's those puzzle moments where you're not really talking to anybody, and like there might be a character in the room with you, but they're not really saying anything,
yeah,
and they're just kind of there. It's like you're just trying to figure out a puzzle and figure out how to get from point A to point B or unlock this mechanism or whatever. That I those parts of Uncharted are actually my favorite parts of it, and I totally agree with you. I hope that this game has more of that than like combat, and more of that than like the even the character interactions. Like I think the game needs to have good characters and a good story,
oh
but
yeah,
you
100%,
know
yeah,
but like I know where you're coming from with that though. It's like that can't be the whole game though. That's kind of what Uncharted is really. It's more about the characters and their interactions. It's not really like the rest of the game is kind of centered around that, for the most part. So yeah, I'm with you, and I'm hoping though in terms of tone, it's way more like Uncharted than the new Tomb Raiders.
yeah.
I,
I
I
can
don't
I
I
can
don't
see
think
that.
we need a serious ass Indiana Jones game that's like hardcore,
Yeah,
like realistic. Like I don't know.
yeah. And now that I'm thinking about it, I think I'm maybe the newer I was being a little bit too hard on the newer Tomb Raiders. They do have those moments a lot more than
Mhm.
Uncharted. Because I'm just thinking about the dungeon and stuff. They do have a lot more where it is large sections of just you trying to figure out. Maybe for me the puzzles were too easy because I just remember maybe I was just young. I'm gonna go back and play the older Tomb Raiders to kind of confirm because they kind of remade them. Um,
Mhm.
but I just remember like it would be like me and my uncle and my cousin playing, and we would be playing this game. Like we'll be stuck on a level for hours, and we're just like, what the like we had to figure it out. Like we had to buy a strategy guide for the game at one
Mhm.
point. So and then with the newer Tomb Raiders, you really don't have to do that because they kind of like the level design has gotten better over the years, but it's kind of super obvious. Like, oh, this is a white painted stripe right here. You have to use this, and it's like, well, why is that painted white when everything else is painted gold? So it's like
Mhm.
they do
Yeah.
that kind of level design, whereas the older Tomb Raiders they really didn't do that. They had certain level design, but you just had to be more rare. And I'm hoping it does that. But I still do want the quippy like Indiana Jones, like this little uh faction that that you have to fight and everything, the Nazis or whatever. Because even Tomb Raider had that. Like you had a faction in each game that was trying to do some crazy shit and finding these artifacts. So it was Indiana Jones, but like darker. So yeah,
Yeah. Well, it's also going to solve a problem that that Uncharted has, where Drake is literally murdering thousands of people over the course of these 4 games or 5 games. Where like, in this game, you're probably going to be killing Nazis like all the time. Like that's probably going to be the only enemy you fight. So who's gonna care? It's like, oh, whatever, fuck them, they're Nazis. It's like it's not that
yeah,
big of a deal. So in Uncharted, it's just like there's like a real dissonance there where it's like, yeah, Drake, bro, I get it. Like they're attacking you, but you are kind of like in the middle of nowhere, like not you're just murdering these guys, like you're not even trying to not kill them, it's just like yeah, so I don't know. It's always a funny part of Uncharted for me, but yeah. So yeah, we don't have a date or anything with that. It sounds like Bethesda made it sound like it's going to be a while before we even hear about this game again, but it is in development clearly. So we will let you guys know when there's more to talk about there. So yeah, that's it, guys. That's going to be it for us this week. Montrell, do you have anything else you'd like to discuss before we go today?
I did want to talk about actually Lucasfilm Games. So how do you feel
Yes.
about that? They changed their name and they also said that more games will be made
Yes.
under that banner. So do you think
Right.
they're eventually going to take it away from the EA game side of things, or because they did acknowledge Rogue Squadron or
Mm,
Squadron, EA Squadron, Star Wars Squadron rather. They did acknowledge that game and they did acknowledge actually Respawn's game, Jedi Fallen Order.
Jedi Fallen Order. Yeah.
Uh, I believe now that game's going to have the logo for Lucasfilm Games. So do you think they're taking the Lucas Arts people and like, hey, we need you to make we need help making these games, or do you think it's just a name
Well,
change?
I don't know. Just seems like a branding thing to me at the moment because Machine Games was the developer called out in this tweet.
It
So
did say they in a tweet. It did say in collaboration with Indian Lucasfilm Games.
with Lucasfilm Games, okay, so maybe they're making a studio of some sort because they used to make tons of games,
Yeah, yeah.
back in the day. But
Because I was actually
I don't
super hyped
know.
about it. If you were on my Twitter, like I was like, "Oh my god,
Mhm.
are the Lucas Arts games coming back?" Like, because that's like to me,
That's
that's
peak
one.
Star Wars games.
Yeah, they're a really underrated developer. Like a lot of people don't talk about them like that.
They are. Yeah.
But they really made some good games within the design
Yeah.
aspect of Star Wars games.
Hmm.
Uh, so
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I just wanted your thoughts on that. Like, is it like a just a name change? Like they're going from EA Star Wars to Lucasfilm Games to get people to try to rebrand
Yeah.
themselves.
We'll get away from EA's. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I think distancing themselves from EA as a brand is not a bad idea, even if they still like let EA make the games.
Yeah.
That's not a bad call. Because yeah, like, yeah, I don't know. The way EA had handled the Star Wars games for the first few years of that deal was
Oh,
pretty bad. So,
it was just as bad as the
um,
movies.
no, they're on a hot streak right now. They've had 2 good ones in a row, so, we'll see if they can continue that, but, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I kinda feel like this might be more like Marvel, the way Marvel's handling their game stuff, where they kinda hand out licenses to certain developers and, like, handpick,
Mm,
certain devs to make certain games
okay.
kinda thing, and
Yeah.
maybe they'll make their own stuff internally too, potentially, but I wouldn't expect huge amounts of output from them if they are making a dev or if they have one.
Well, it was
I
funny.
would,
I saw
yeah,
a tweet the other day, because like, well, it was a couple weeks ago, because the Mandalorian season finale came out around that time, and they tweeted to Someone tweeted, "Man, it would be fucking awesome if we had a Mandalorian game." And then I think one of the lead developers of the old Star Wars 1313 tweeted was like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, I was trying to make this, but it got shut down."
Well,
Um,
that and then whatchamacallit, Amy Hennig's
yeah, Amy
studio,
Hennig
Amy
tweeted as
Hennig, like
well.
they were kind of making that too, I think,
Yep.
sort of.
So I don't know, like there was a little buzz behind that, and there was some little inklings, because like even the EA Star Wars tweet retweeted that, and other people were like, "Are they kind of
Thinking about it.
Yeah, I mean, I think they should do it. I mean, what did you think? I mean, because that series is
I mean,
insanely.
it's such an obvious game. The demand is so obviously there. We all want it. We all want it. Like all like no one's gonna be angry if we get that game, that kind of game, like an Uncharted style, like bounty hunter game or something like that, or even deeper than that. Like
Yeah,
but it's like a third person shooter. Like no one's gonna be fucking mad about that. Like it's gonna sell like crazy. That's why it's insane that they haven't made it yet. This is why EA is so dumb and so annoying that it took them years to figure out like what games to make with the Star Wars license. Is like, bro, like, oh my god, of course you're going with the monetizable fucking online service game. It's like fucking god, dude, be more original with the ideas. It's like, yes, you got to make money, but fuck me. Do that on mobile or something. Make like a Star Wars gotcha game. Like
they
fucking
actually
shit.
do
Like,
have one. That's why I was so surprised that they
I'm
turned
sure
this
they do.
into a gotcha game, because they actually have
Uh,
a Star Wars gotcha game that's like an RPG
yeah,
type deal.
yeah.
So
Yeah, so the idea that we're gonna get more single player style Star Wars games is I don't know. It's just like because I've been thinking about Fallen Order lately, and I'm like, it's kind of wild that game was made. You know,
it was made in
it
secret too, because it just came out of
yeah,
nowhere.
yeah, dude, and the fact that it was like as good as it was. I know we had issues with it, but like it's a
Oh yeah,
good,
it's
it's
a
a
good.
fucking
I'm
good
I'm
game.
about to re-download and play it. I mean, yeah,
Like shit, dude. Like in the way they did combat, and like you're like it is Star Wars. It's like you're fighting stormtroopers and shit. It's like it is Star Wars, and it's pretty crazy that game came out and was as good as it was. It's like I don't
and
know,
that
man. So I'm
unlikely. See, and
yeah,
this is why I have faith in Machine Games, because Respawn made that game, and
yeah,
they don't really have any history with like combat oriented third person games like this, like Soulborn games type games like
right,
that.
yeah. They made Titanfall, and that was it. That was
Yeah,
that was the only game they had made, really. So yeah, so I am encouraged by where the Star Wars games are right now, and I think by extent to in extension of that, I think Lucas is figuring out what they want to do with these IPs, and that's important that they figure out what styles of games each one fits. And obviously Star Wars you can shove into like any genre basically and it
yeah,
works. But Indiana Jones is not like that. There's really only a few that I think it would work with.
yeah.
But a kind of third person story driven action game that has a lot of puzzle elements to it. That's a little bit more methodical. I mean, I think that's perfect, right? Like that it's such an obvious game to make. So
I
yeah,
will
I don't know.
say, I
I'm
think
curious.
um, it looks like Disney's stance may have like really changed on Star Wars. And Indiana Jones as well. I think they were letting up on those IPs to be done, because now I feel like after the main movies have been done, they're just letting people do whatever the fuck they want now, because people are like,
Yeah.
we want other stories and stuff like that. And I think
Well,
I will say
because
to EA's credit,
yeah,
they have been trying to keep those games within that universe, or that within that
mhm,
little arena of the movies,
that
because
scope, that small scope,
yeah,
right?
that's a good word, scope, yeah. Within that small scope of the movies, because maybe Disney was like, "Yeah, we wanted other stories." Like, maybe that bounty hunter game that, what's her face was making, it was outside that scope, and they're like, "Yeah, we want that, but we don't want that right now." And I think
Yeah.
once Mandalorian took off, they saw, okay, people actually want this shit. Like, they want other stories besides
Dude, they want the nerdy, lore-driven Star Wars that the expanding universe had given us back in the 90s and the 2000s, you know?
Yeah.
And this is what Disney didn't get, you know? Like their continuation of the Skywalker saga was such a mistake in my opinion because those movies aren't good. Like none of the 3 movies are good. And they're like it is one of the biggest wastes of potential I think we're probably going to see in film in a long time because like to me, yeah, I think the potential in the extraneous side of Star Wars, the part that's not the main trilogies of movies is extremely high. We saw that 20 years ago, with like Knights of the Old Republic and shit like that and all the books that have been written about Star Wars. Like that media proved that Star Wars has way more to it than just Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader, and
Yeah.
it's like the fact that it actually took Disney failing themselves, even though they were hugely financially successful, the movies were critical, just complete failures. It took that for them to realize that, oh fuck, maybe we shouldn't give that much of a shit. And like, yeah, we need to pick our relationships properly in terms of who we give what to, but
Yeah, exactly.
maybe we should be a little bit more lenient on what we allow people to do with this IP because it's not like you're doing anything that great with it anyways. It's so yeah, I'm encouraged by that. I think everything that's happened in the last 2 or 3 years with Star Wars has actually been really nice to see because we were in a really dark time when The Last Jedi came out.
Yeah.
Dude, I remember when that movie came out, and I was at me. I remember, dude, me and like Jet saw it. We saw it together, and I think it was a couple other people we saw it with. And Jet's like a big Star Wars fan, um, but he likes Star Trek more. But like he likes Star Wars too. But it was like we were both just like done with it after that movie, man. Like we were like I fucking this sucks. Like Disney's completely just fucking like they've ruined it. Like Star Wars sucks, and that's where my head was at when that movie came out. And obviously, Rise of Skywalker didn't really save it for me, but by that point we had already gotten Jedi Fallen Order and what else?
I
We'd gotten some other games
think
as
we got
well.
Rogue
So
One between that one too.
yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. We had gotten Rogue One, and it's so there had been some good stuff that had come out. And I think Mandalorian season 1 actually was
Yeah, that's
already
true.
had it
Yeah.
come out too. So there was already signs that things were turning, in a good direction. And I think we're now at the point where I think the future's bright as long as it continues down this path. And I'm glad that Disney decided to take a like kind of pull back on their plans for movies because you remember a couple years ago they had these like they were going to do another trilogy after this one, and then they had they had like all these other solo movies they were going to be doing as well, and it's like they've kind of like put the brakes on all of that for the most part right now. And I don't know what is coming out Star Wars movie related, but they're kind of just like they're kind of letting things sit for now, and I think they're going to figure it out here in the next year or two. So I'm happy about that personally, but yeah. So I don't know. I think this is a good sign. I think Lucas kind of taking the reins back in the game realm is a really good thing, because they knew their shit. They
Yeah.
they they always made like their games aren't like the best games ever made, but they're all really good almost. Most of the ones that they made back in the day. So yeah, we'll see what comes of it. Um, I don't know. I think the next 10 years will be interesting to see with this franchise for sure. I think the 2010s are going to be looked at as a really big dark period for Star Wars.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping the 2020s are much more, much brighter in that regard.
All right.
So
That's
yeah.
all I had though. Didn't mean to
All
extend
right.
it further than that, but yeah.
Oh, you just got me waxing poetic about Star Wars, Montrell. No big deal. It's okay. I mean, we could have a whole show about Star Wars, dude. But all right, guys. Okay, that's it. We're gonna call it here. I know we went a little long this week, but we hope you enjoyed this episode. And if you did like the episode, please like the episode, review the show, and subscribe to the show on whatever feed you were listening to it on. And please share it with your friends. We are trying to grow the audience. If you'd like to interact with either of us on Twitter, you can do so at iTrap for the Hokage for Montrell. That is the number 4, not the word. I'm at ThunderNut01, and the show is at The Player's Take. If you'd like to send us a question, you can do so at The Player's Take 01 at gmail.com, or you can send us a question on Twitter as well. And yeah, that's it. I didn't mention this at the beginning of the episode. I did forget, unfortunately. But yeah, we didn't do the anticipated games of 2021 this week. We are going to be doing that next week. That will be the whole episode. There will be no news. We probably won't even talk about games we're playing. We're just going to save all that and pack it up for 2 weeks from now. So we're going to have like a supersized episode in 2 weeks. But next week will be anticipated games for 2021. So look forward to that. We hope you guys enjoyed this one, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.